Hey everybody, I'm Garcia, and today we're going to be taking up the law in Megacity One and trying to bring some perps to justice in Judge Dredd, The Cursed Earth. In this game, the players are going to be racing through the cursed earth, trying to survive the post-apocalyptic menaces that they'll encounter in order to reach their destination before either A, the other team, or B, the baddies in the game. Because you can play cooperative or competitive, and even a solitaire mode, which is actually what I'll show you in the video and just mention some of the differences. But yes, the game has 3 different modes that you can choose to play in. So this is, before I get to it, also I want to mention it's based on another game from Osprey Games, The Lost Expedition. Same size box, very similar gameplay, different theme. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video, how I feel about this one compared to that game, okay? So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'll give you a quick overview of how it all works together, and I'll see you on the other side of that. So the game comes with 3 game modes. You have your solitaire mode, your cooperative mode, which is very similar to the solitaire mode, and then, of course, a competitive mode. I'm going to be showing you my favorite here, which is solitaire, in which I am playing the team of judges here, trying to catch these perps before they make it to the bottom card in the deck here, max normal. I'm trying to get there before they do, all right? If you're playing cooperative, again, it's a very similar experience. If you're playing competitive, then each team, each player would be playing one of the teams, both running to try to get to max normal, traversing the cursed earth and many of its locations. So again, this is going to be fully solitaire mode here. I have my 3 judges with 5 health. I've got 4 ammo, 3 rations, and we're going to be taking turns alternating between dawn and dusk until we win or we lose the game. I win if I get there first. I lose if they get there first, or every one of my judges is dead, and so they've all perished. And I'm going to begin the game by shuffling the cards, putting the max normal card on the bottom, displaying 3. I'm on the first. They are on the third, the perps I'm trying to catch up to. And you can also remove some of these unseen if you want to make the game easier, which I have done here. And then you're going to draw 6 cards from the shuffled deck. So all of these cards have a few pieces of information on them. They have a number, which is the order in which you'll resolve cards, at least during the dawn phase. And then they have some, the title, of course, the artwork, and then some symbols at the top to denote what happens through the card, what the card actually means. So you have 3 different kinds of colors. The yellow ones are something you have to do when you encounter that card. The red ones are something you have to do among the choices. So I have to do that one or that one. The blue ones are optional. I can do them or not do them. And so, for the solitaire game, the dawn phase will go like this. I am going to reveal 2 cards from the deck and put them into play in the order I will encounter them, i.e. the number, like so. Then I'm going to play 2 cards from my hand. And so I could play, let's say, this card from my hand would go there. It's a 24. And this card, let's see. This card from my hand would be 30. Then I'll reveal 1 more from the deck. It's a 7, so it goes all the way at the front of the line. And then 1 final one from my hand, so that there are 6. And the final one from my hand will be... Ooh, which one's it going to be? Not that one. Let's go with... I'm going to go with this one here, I think. 29. All right. And now that I've got the 6 cards, I'm going to go ahead and run through them. Also, of course, taking into account that some of the locations will have special powers that will do different things. So, for example, where I am right now, it's not going to be a problem because it says at the end of every investigation, which is this, running through these is the investigation, I would have to shuffle a card back into the deck. If it was in the discard pile, it's not in there, so I don't have to worry about it. And so starting from over here, I'll deal with the symbols. So in this case, the symbols on this very first card are, I have to lose one of these mountain symbols. That means an expertise in something. This character, Judge Dredd, is an expert in that, so I could do so by discarding 1 health from him or 2 health from someone else, or if I had a card that gave me that, as this one does, you'll see in 1 second, I could have discarded that card also. Unfortunately, I don't have it, so I'm giving up 1 health. That means 1 hit to anybody or from anybody. So I'll take that one. The next one means I can switch 2 cards that are upcoming cards, and I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch these 2 here. And then it means I can skip the next one. I have to skip the next one. And so I'm going to be jumping over this card right to this one, though I could have put a card here which I wanted to get rid of. But that one is being skipped, so I'll discard that card. This is dealt with, so it is done as well, and we go to the next one. This one gives me a choice of 2 things. I can eat 2 rations and advance, or take 1 radiation and skip the next card. Radiation will be placed on the characters, and if my health ever drops below my radiation, that character also dies. So it's another way that the character could possibly go away. So I'm going to go ahead and do the top one. I will eat 2 rations. I will advance myself on the track. And then this is done. And then we go to the next one, in which I have to pay food, I have to take 1 radiation, and skip the next card. Fine, I'll pay 1 food, I'll take 1 radiation, and then I will skip the next card. That's done. And then this final one says, violence, take 1 hit, and then I will advance. So violence is either a bullet, or 2 hits from someone, or someone dies. I'll spend my bullet. Then a health hit. I'll take it from Judge Anderson, and then I advance. Whenever I encounter the baddies in solitaire mode like this, I have to deal with them. And so I'm going to take the 3 cards that represent the other team. This would be, someone would be playing these characters if we were playing competitive. I'll shuffle them, and then I have to reveal one and contend with that encounter. So I'll reveal that one, for example, and it's a psi thing, which is Anderson's symbol. But it could have been mountains, it could have been that one there. So let's say it was, for example, this symbol. Let's say the card I revealed, just for the sake of our example, is this one. And so Judge Dredd there Judge Giant will deal with that. Discard 1 health. That's done. And I've advanced, and that's it. Now, at the end of dawn, I must eat, which I cannot do. That would bring its own consequences. And then I will flip this over to dusk. So here's how dusk works. I have 3 cards left over. I had a hand of 6. I have 3 now. I am going to play 6 again, but this time I do not rearrange them in the order that the numbers would suggest. Instead, I'll go through them in the order they got played. But I get to play them to the front or the back of the line. So, I could reveal 1. And then I'll play 1 from my hand, and I'm going to put this one behind that one. Even though the numbers don't go that way, I can do whatever I want. And then I will reveal another one from the deck. I'm going to put this one here. I'm going to put it over here, actually. Then I will reveal 1 from my hand and play it somewhere. I will add 1 from the deck. I'm going to put this one right here. And then the final one, I will put way over here at the end. So there we go, 6 in the order I played them. Obviously drawing 3 from the deck, in the front or in the back. And then I run through all these. And again, these characters are going to be taking wounds, taking radiation, using their expertise, which is also a hit, or possibly dying. At the end of me running through this, then 2 things will happen. I have to eat again, and then the bad guys will advance. Meaning I will reveal the next card, and they will move on to it. All right? And again, it's possible there's some text effect on the location that I have to take into account. Once this is done, I go back to the dawn phase, I draw a new hand of 6 cards, and we continue going. One more thing I have not talked about is the psi effect. That's different depending on which mode of play you are playing. But if it is solitaire, which is what I'm doing now, if I encounter that, I have 2 options. So let's say, for example, I'm dealing with this card. It has a psi effect. My options are draw a card, put it at the back of the line. I have to deal with it, whatever it may be. The other option is I can use her psychic ability, discard a health, and I would draw 4 cards. These 4 it would have been. And I will add 2 to the back of the line. So I might be able to do that, and I might be able to do that, right? So I get to curate the line a little bit, my encounters, so I know what's coming up, and I can hopefully make this work out to my advantage. And that's basically it. So, I'm trying to, again, continue through the locations, trying to get to max normal at the end before the perps themselves get there. And these cards could have gone away since the characters never move backwards. So there you go. That's how it all works together, with more locations being revealed and so forth along the way. That should give you an idea of the concept at play here. As I said, cooperative is very similar, and competitive, the players will simply be trying to run themselves all the way to the end, leaving their opponents in the dust there behind them. So there you go. Let's go back up top. Let me talk a little bit more about it, and I'll tell you what I think of it. All right, so there we go, the Cursed Earth. What do I think of it? Overall, I like this game. I like the Lost Expedition as well. And honestly, they're very, very similar. On the back of the box, they do say based on the best-selling The Lost Expedition. It introduces new rules and mechanics, such as psychic powers and radioactive landscapes. That's true. A couple of minor additions, but it really very much feels like the same game. So, before I compare them, let's talk about this one just in and of itself. Things I did not like so much that I think are just okay. Aesthetics. Now, the artwork in this is fantastic. I love it's chock full of great illustrations, a pulpy, comic book action. I love that look. The tokens, though, are very thin. The cardboard is very thin and fragile. The components on that front is what let me down, I think the cards are great. I love the look. I just wish the components for the tokens were better. And then the other thing is ease of play is definitely a little tricky in this. A couple of the complications they added from the original Lost Expedition feel like little complications to the system. And while you can certainly figure that out and play even the very first time without really major issues, the ease of play here isn't exactly, super smooth and super easy. There's going to be some hiccups. And considering you have to learn sort of 3 different ways to play if you want to experience it all, that's another wrinkle to that. Now, things I do like. Theme. Awesome theme. I love the concept. It's well utilized. They give you a little comic book at the beginning. Let me see. At the beginning of the rule book here, they explain the story in a little, 1-page comic book, basically. That 2-page comic book. So I really like that setup. It works well. It's neat. It puts you in that world. So thumbs up there. The replayability. As like I said, 3 modes. Lots of little puzzles to solve. It's all engaging. It's all interesting. It's going to keep you coming back. You have those locations you have to traverse. So the world feels very real and captivating. For a game that is truly at its core an abstract card game, it's surprisingly thematic. And if you buy into it, if you allow the game to work on you, I think you're going to get into the theme. And then lastly, tactics and strategy, luck, all the mixture of those things really works for me. It's a game that is going to force you to make some interesting calls regarding long-term goals versus short-term gains. How much are you willing to give up to survive right now? How close are you willing to come to the line of death in order to advance? Those things is where the game, lives and dies on those choices, and so will you. And I like that very much. I think that even in the original game as it is now, is really where this game shines, in offering you puzzles where you have to make that choice of, is this worth it? Do I want to give up this 2 food to move up 1 space, or am I dooming myself? That's where it's at. Now, regarding the other game, The Lost Expedition, I really like that theme. It's not based on anything. It's not Indiana Jones or anything, but I really like that theme. I think it works well. I like the idea of traversing the jungle, all the encounters you have in the jungle. It's a smooth game. I really enjoy it. This one adds a couple of things. The psi abilities, psychic abilities being the main thing that's sort of a little quirky. When you encounter the other team, you have to fight them. That's a little bit of a wrinkle to it. But it does feel like a chase. Whereas the other game, if you're playing solitaire co-op anyway, felt like a trek where you just had to make it. Whether you made it this week or next week didn't seem to matter. In this one, the clock, the pressure is on. Comparing them head-to-head out of the box, if I had to pick only one, it's going to be up to you because of the theme, right? But I would pick this one over the other one. But the other game has an expansion. And if you add that expansion into the other game, then I would give it the nod. I just like the things it added to it. For one thing, it made the game a little bit easier, or it gave you the ability to make the game a little bit easier. And believe you me, you're going to want to make this game a little bit easier. This is a tough game. It's a very challenging design that's going to reward those people who like a really tough, gritty, cooperative experience, a grind, which I do. That's fine. That's interesting, but I do like the other one with the expansion in it better. However, at the end of the day, all you need to know is something I can tell you, which is, do you like Judge Dredd? And do you already have the Lost Expedition? If you don't, and you like this theme, I think you're going to want this. It's a solid design. You're going to find interesting gameplay in here. If you already have that game, is this enough to sway you away from it? Maybe, but that's really a call for you. And if you have the expansion to that game, then I think there is more content in that as of right now. However, while I'm not sure how I feel about them taking a game and almost reutilizing it entirely, Osprey Games is certainly not the only company to have done so, and I'm really glad that they have the Judge Dredd license on this design. It fits. It works well. So there you go. This one's going to get a seal of approval from me. If you want to get one of the two, and you like Judge Dredd, no question, get yourself some Judge Dredd action. Again, seal of approval. That's it for me, everybody. I'm Z Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.